Welcome to the first webinar in 2023, and we've got an incredibly exciting topic to talk about: health and wellness. People set New Year's resolutions, and more often than not, they fail and fall flat on their faces. Why is that? Hopefully we can get some answers today from Hayley Winchel, who is a doctor of chiropractic, very successful speaker, university professor. She will come here and educate us on what the heck we should be thinking about towards health and wellness in the new year. Very excited to have her. Hayley, how are you doing?
Hey, Justin. Thanks so much for having me on. I'm doing great. I'm excited to be here today and talk to you all about something that I'm really passionate about. And I'm sure you guys are thinking about it too, as we're just kicking off 2023. So I appreciate you giving me the podium to share some knowledge and hopefully inspire some people to make this year the best year yet.
Awesome, incredible. So are you able to share your screen and the slides?
So let me do that now. So I'll share my screen. Perfect. All right. So again, Justin, thanks for having me on. I am Dr. Hayley Winchel. I am a chiropractic physician, part of Performance Health Clinics over in New Jersey. And I'm also a PCOSAA, medical recognized professional. And what I'm here to talk to you guys about today is some strategic health and wellness initiatives that we can implement into our lifestyles to really engage in health tactics this year and then for all the rest of our years to come. All right, so I want to kick off this presentation by just having you guys take a moment to think about what your New Year's resolutions were when the clock struck midnight and we started this year, right? So in your mind, take a moment to really focus on, what does 2023 look like for you? What are you hoping to achieve? What does your life look like when you end up in December of 2023? What do you want to look back on and say, wow, I accomplished that, right? So if you have a moment and can write it into the chat, great. If not, I'm not able to see it right now. So what I'll do is I'll just have you guys kind of marinate on that thought of, what your New Year's resolution is, and keep that in mind as we go through this presentation. A lot of times the first thing that people come up with is, oh, I want to lose weight, or I want to become fit or healthy, run a marathon. All of these are, physical health, right? But what I'm going to touch on is that there's a lot more to health and wellness than just physical health. And these are important things that we might be missing that play a role in what makes us keep our resolutions. So as we talk about health and wellness, I think it's good to really understand, well, what are we actually talking about? Right, so health, defined by the World Health Organization, is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and it's not merely the absence of disease or infirmity. Moving towards wellness, the Global Wellness Institute defines wellness as the active pursuit of activities, choices, and lifestyles, right, that lead to a holistic state of health. So we can see right there, there's a great relationship between wellness and health. Wellness is a label that we can use for activities or different types of products that help us to achieve a state of health. And understanding that relationship of using wellness to achieve health is really going to help us to identify certain aspects of our life that are either wellness activities and promoting our health, or not so much wellness activities and are, depreciating our health. Now, wellness is multidimensional, right? It's not just about physical or nutrition, but there's up to 9, even 12 different types of wellness that we can think about, and they all contribute to our health. So some interesting things besides physical is our mental health, right? Are we making sure that our mental wellness is up to par? How about our emotional wellness, spiritual wellness, social and environmental, right? All of these things play a key role in how well our lives pan out. And a lot of times we don't have opportunities to really take a step back and engage in activities that are going to boost all of these different aspects of our lives. but they all play a critical role in our quality of life. So with that being said, right, there's different aspects of wellness. We just talked about a few, but there can be up to 9, even up to 12. And wellness, whether you engage in activities currently or not, you always fall somewhere within this wellness continuum. Now, where most
Hey, Hayley, I don't want to break the stride here because you're doing a great job. I think we lost some visual component here. Okay, now just something popped back up here. All right, perfect. I can see the wellness continuum now.
All right, so we're all good. We're not on this slide.
We're on the wellness continuum. Yep.
Perfect. Okay. So, right, no matter where we are in life, we always fall somewhere within this wellness continuum, even if we feel like, oh, we don't actually really, I'm not really thinking about my wellness, or I don't really engage in these activities currently, right? You still lie somewhere within this spectrum. Now, where most people live their lives is within that medical paradigm, right? The thing that we see on the left side of the slide here, where we get into these episodes of maybe, we get sick or we get injured, we pull our back, for instance, we go to a specialist or to a physician, we get better, they give us maybe the prescribed medication or therapy, and then we leave and we go about our lives, right? And that's the end of the conversation. But then maybe a couple of years down the line or a couple months, you get sick again, or you get injured again. And it becomes these episodes where we're kind of oscillating between poor health and neutral, where we're in that reactive stage. We never really seek out extra care or extra wellness activities until there's a problem, right? And that really is part of our problem, our larger problem, right? Because we're not having these conversations that maybe you get sick or you get injured, and the conversation never goes to, well, why did that happen? Why do I keep getting these colds? Why do I keep pulling my back out when I'm reaching down to pick up, the groceries from the floor? If we start to have more of these conversations, not only with ourselves, but also with our, trusted providers, whether that's a physician or a therapist or a specialist, right? We can never really uncover what's really holding us back from moving past that neutral point into a state of wellness. So then we can thrive, right? And be proactive and start to engage in more and more robust activities to promote our health, to ultimately end up to an optimal state of well-being where we don't get sick anymore, or not as often, right? Now we can go out, live our lives to the fullest, engage in different activities, and not have to worry, oh, you know what, I'm probably going to get a cold again because I was in a big crowd. Or, okay, I picked up a lot of groceries, my back's probably going to go out in a day or two, right? Being able to handle more and be able to more so prevent future injuries or future illnesses rather than just react to them. Now, something that's interesting about my line of work specifically is that I meet most people within that reactive state, right? They have some type of physical pain or some type of nutrition deficiency where maybe they feel fatigued, or, for some reason, they're not able to perform the things that they need to do throughout their day. And we diagnose the problem, and we have those conversations, right? As to, all right, well, why does this keep happening? What's the real cause here in your life? What in your life keeps you going through these cycles? And then with my training and the knowledge that I have with my degree, I'm able to help guide people, empower patients, and walk them through this continuum, move them past that neutral point where they feel better into how can you start to regularly engage in certain activities so that you never go back to that poor health again, that you're moving further and further up in the wellness continuum to the point where you're thriving, right? So I'm interestingly poised to be able to help guide people along this whole spectrum, which, I think is part of my favorite part of the job, to really help people, take their control back. But it really does come down to having that kind of expert guidance to help get you there, right? And that extra support and that extra knowledge. So in talking about wellness, right, we talked about how there's so many different aspects of that. And I'm just going to touch on some more in detail so that we can understand what are some easy ways to implement small strategies that can make big impacts. So the first thing I want to touch on is physical wellness, which is oftentimes the first thing that comes to mind when we're talking about resolutions or looking to boost our health. Right, so physical wellness is we need about 150 minutes of moderate intensity physical activity as adults and at least 2 days of muscle strengthening activity per week. So if we break this down, let's say you only want to do physical activity 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, that ends up being only 30 minutes a day to reach the required amount to be healthy and fit. And 30 minutes a day is not much. Maybe you want to break that down even further into 15 minutes in the morning and then 15 minutes at lunch. And even just starting out with 15-minute walks or a 30-minute walk is a great way to meet your strength and fitness goals without creating too much wave in your already busy schedule. All right, so that's an easy one that I love to incorporate with patients, just going for a casual lunchtime walk or a walk to decompress at the end of your workday. And there's other options too, more formal, such as fitness classes, engaging in gym memberships, doing outdoor workouts, sports like pickleball. Pickleball is huge now, and even home workouts. But a lot of times people have two barriers to this type of physical wellness. Number one being time, right? We already kind of touched on how you can break this up into small segments, right? Call it bite-sized exercise snacks that you can incorporate without, adding too much to your schedule. And the second thing is usually finances, right? Sometimes gym memberships can be expensive. These classes can rack up in cost. So what I urge you to do is to look into your health insurance and see if they offer any initiatives that they offer to cover partial costs or entire costs for you engaging in preventative physical wellness activities. So for instance, on here I have a photo. So Blue Cross Blue Shield offers a program called Blue 365. And on there they offer discounts on ClassPass, Fitbits, even like exercise sneakers, different types of nutritional supplements, all things that they're offering to you as basically free money or a discount to really get ahead of your own wellness goals and to be more proactive. Right, and of course, if we increase our physical demands, we need to match that with our recovery levels as well. So that's where things like chiropractic care comes in, therapeutic exercise, and even hands-on massage. You want to be able to not only boost your ability to do more, but then you need to also boost your recovery levels as well. Another thing that's been a big topic following the pandemic, right, is mental health and mental wellness. It can be daunting to engage in maybe talk therapy or looking into a structured type of program. But one of the most overlooked parts of maintaining mental health is our sleep, right? So getting restful sleep, about 7 hours a night, is a great way that we can start to decompress from our day, right? Prepare for what's ahead and kind of forget everything else that stressed us out earlier in the evening or in the morning, right? So how do we ensure that we can start to incorporate at least 7 hours a night? Maybe we start to go to bed at the same time every day and wake up around the same time, even on the weekends, right? Being consistent helps us to regulate our circadian rhythm, which is our natural sleep and wake cycle. A big thing that's been in the news is how kind of the lights from our phones and TVs, but phones especially, can disrupt our circadian rhythm. So it's important, and a really easy tactic to use, I think, is doing red light on your phone. And on the next slide, I'll kind of show you how you can incorporate that night shift on your phone to help dim the lighting so that you can still use your phone and your devices without emitting light that'll disrupt your circadian rhythm. And I think it's hard for people to say, oh, no devices in the bedroom. This is an easy alternative where you can still have your phone with you, but it's not disrupting anything in terms of your sleeping. Something that I do personally is leaving my shades open just a little bit, so that way when the sun rises, the sun peeks through, and I can get that natural waking up with the sun, and that's always really therapeutic for your body. And moving away now from sleep, I want to talk about also engaging in activities that keep you present, right? So mental wellness incorporates activities that you enjoy. Maybe you play an instrument, maybe you paint, Maybe you dance with friends or have a conversation with a loved one. Performing mindful activities throughout the day is something that helps you stay present and also helps you to manage stress as well. And I know part of this conversation has been all about adding things to your schedule or adding things to your life. But what I ask you to do also is make time to do absolutely nothing, right? We need time to decompress, to recharge. We need that for our own mental sanity as well as our physical well-being. So making sure that you have enough time to decompress and recover is going to set you up for success for days and days to come. And like I touched on earlier, maybe, it's a bit daunting to engage in medical advice for these types of things, but that's really the next step to get you, into that mental wellness stage, right? So trying these sleep habits is a great way to do it, right? But then also talk therapy or going to a psychiatrist or psychologist who can really help you. Doing things like journaling, meditation, and then even getting the hands-on physical care from, let's say, a chiropractor, massage therapist, or physical therapist also helps with your body's stress levels and internalization of any mental stresses. So that iPhone night shift, right, to help with that decrease that blue light is pretty easy, right? You just go to your brightness settings on your phone, right? You tap on the brightness, turn on the night shift, and you can actually schedule at what time in the day you want the night shift to happen, and it'll automatically adjust your color on your phone. So I highly suggest if you do one thing after this presentation or look back at it, this is an easy, quick fix to help you get a better night's sleep. So definitely recommend doing this. So moving away from mental health and mental wellness, I want to touch upon some things that aren't really spoken about too often, and that's emotional, spiritual, and social wellness. So how many times do you have like a social event coming up or a friend reaches out to you to invite you over, and the entire week you're dreading getting together? You're thinking of every excuse you can to get out of your, obligation. All right, so that's something to take inventory on, right? Does your social life give you a sense of fulfillment, or does it fill you up with anxiety? Part of our well-being involves being part of a group of people that make us feel good, engaging in activities that you enjoy doing. And that's really based in a lot of community-based activities. So community doesn't have to be your neighborhood, your town, or a specific organization, but you need to create your own personal community of people who are like-minded, supportive, and engaging to help you feel emotionally, spiritually, and socially well. Another topic that I think ties in perfectly that isn't really talked about too much either is financial wellness, right? So we know that financial stress can even affect our physical health, right? It has implications on blood pressure, respiratory symptoms, somatic issues like musculoskeletal pain, and even our perceived levels of tension, right? So what's important with this is we're not talking about how much money do you have, but we're talking about how fiscally fit are you, in that are you spending your money on things that you enjoy, and are you spending your money on things that make you happy and healthy? So, kind of taking inventory with what you have in terms of your finances and being able to really make sure that you are investing in certain activities or products that promote your health and promote your happiness is very, very important and directly contributes to your overall well-being. Now, you can talk with experts here, like at Personal Wealth Strategies, right? That's a great avenue to go. And there's even some apps in terms of budgeting, like Mint, and even some great free advice online. I know, like Investopedia and NerdWallet, things like that, so that you know that you can have that awareness and take charge to make sure that you are using your resources to boost your own well-being. So now that I've talked all about the different aspects of wellness, right? How do we actually implement them, right? It's one thing to talk about them. Maybe you say, oh, all right, that's the one I'm going to try tomorrow or tonight. But how do we actually make these wellness strategies last for the long term? Not just for the month, not just for the year, but for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, right? And I've kind of brought it down to a 4-step process that really gets you to make these lasting changes. Now, the first step is raised awareness, right? Knowing what you want to bring into your life and how you want your life to look or feel. So I want you all to take a moment right now, and I want you to close your eyes, and I want you to take some time to see, okay, what do I want my life to look like? What is my goal for this year, for the next 10 years, for the next 20 years? Know what you want to bring into your life. Get that visual into your mind. Right? Once you've done that, you've already got step one down. You already know what you want to achieve, and that's great. The second step to this is now focusing your attention. We're focusing our attention on anything, a thought process, a relationship, an obligation that may be holding us back from actually achieving our goal or our resolution, right? If you hang out with friends who are all smokers, the likelihood that you're also going to be a smoker is just as high, right? So engaging in relationships with people who are kind of pushing you towards your goal is really important, right? A lot of people don't even think about, how's your community impacting your thoughts on yourself and your ability to see your potential, right? Noticing negative thinking. Oh, I always make resolutions, but they never stick. That's a negative thought. And you can have that thought, but put that on the shelf, right? Because that's just a thought, not an actuality. So noticing these negative things or this negative thinking and being able to place it on the side and say, all right, these are my barriers. Look at it as an outsider's perspective. These are the barriers that I'm aware of now that have been holding me back thus far, but won't hold me back as I move forward. Again, with focused attention, we also want to notice some positive things, right? Maybe you meet a new friend who also likes the same activity that you engage in for wellness. That's fantastic. Maybe you notice opportunities in your schedule where you can get a walk in because the weather is nice. So focusing our attention on things that hold us back, but also focusing our attention on things that are going to promote us reaching our goals is just as important. So we've done step one, we got our goal. Step two, we know what's held us back thus far from reaching our goal, and we know what is going to help us to achieve that moving forward. Now, at this point, this is where most people fall off the wagon, where they're like, all right, I've done that. I know what I want. I know what I got to do to get there. And that's it, right? So that's where we see those resolutions really kind of fall flat. And I'd say that these last two steps are probably the most pivotal and most important to actually achieving and making these resolutions and these wellness tactics last for us, right? And that step three is deliberate practice. It's going out and doing the things you need to do to achieve your goal, right? To do the work. You have to do the hard work to get there. It's easy to say, okay, I want $1 million, and you sit on the couch and just wait for it to come. Well, it's not going to come that way, right? Maybe you have to go out and network with a few people, or take some time to learn new skills so that you can, build upon your repertoire. And these are certain things that people often say is too hard. They don't want to do the work, right? Or they're motivated to do the work in the beginning, but then, it becomes too much and they, slowly decrease over time. This deliberate practice is the way that we can start to implement these changes. But now step four, having accountability, is really what solidifies it for us. This is probably the most important of all the steps in really implementing real lasting change, right? So accountability in yourself, picking goals that are realistic and in your control, but also having an expert guide and coach that can help to move you along the path. When your motivation is low, when you haven't reached the goal that you thought you wanted to at some certain point, you need that expert with the knowledge and the support to help give you that extra oomph to guide you along that path and continue to reach your goal, because they see the potential in you where you may not see it just yet. Right? So really having that accountability is by far the number one most important thing to being able to keep step 1, 2, and 3 in the forefront of your mind and allow all these wellness strategies to last for a lifetime, right? So really that accountability, picking somebody who's the expert in the field is really going to be that game changer for you. So now that I've kind of laid out all the wellness facets, right? All the different aspects of wellness that maybe you knew, maybe some that surprised you that you didn't know already. Now that we've touched on that and then how to implement them, I want you to take a look again at this wellness continuum. And I want you to identify where on this continuum do you stand right now? You know, taking into account, you know, your health currently, what activities you engage in currently, and identifying where you are. And at the same token, I want you to take a look at this and also figure out where do you want to be? And do those two places match for you? Where you are currently on this continuum versus where you want to be? Are you in the same place? And if not, then you know that you have some work to do to achieve that goal, to reach that optimal level in that wellness paradigm that you're looking to be. And in that case, I'd love to be the expert and the guide as you kind of work along that path to achieve that wellness goal. So, you know, my team at Performance Health Clinics are health and wellness experts that can really help to keep you accountable as you implement these changes. Through this presentation, you have the ability to reach out to me directly via my email or look at our website and be able to book a consultation with me. Something that I offer and the other physicians offer in my office as well is nutrition evaluation, planning, and supplementation. We offer 24/7 physician-guided support, which is fantastic via text message, email. We're always here for you every step of the way. We offer stress management counseling as well. And if you are within a close radius of any of our offices in New Jersey, we offer chiropractic care and physical therapy so that we can also offer you health and wellness strategies that are hands-on as well. So I want to thank you all very much for giving me the opportunity to share some health and wellness initiatives with you and help you kind of identify where you are right now and where you want to go. And I'd be happy to be that coach and that guide for you to help you reach all of your goals for 2023. And if you have any questions, I guess you can put them, I think we have a Q&A option and a chat as well. So I'd love to hear from you if you guys have any questions or any comments for me.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Hayley. Yes, put questions, comments into the chat. Thank you so much for all of that knowledge. Definitely, I would encourage, I've done the night shift on my phone for a long time, and that has been critical to you know, what my sleep health. I've also gotten an Aura ring, so I wear an Aura ring, and I'm able to. Let me see if I can stop. I think you're still sharing.
Oh, okay.
Let's see. All right, perfect. I got it. I've been able to track, my sleep and being able to see, if I eat later than I should, how does that affect my sleep? My resting heart rate goes up and I don't sleep as well that night. So by able to, track, measure, and monitor, I can help to do more of the things that help and become, healthier. And it's so funny how to me, health and wealth, besides the obvious like financial wellness and leading to more health, the connection between the two, how there is this, side by side with them, because so many people know what to do. I mean, it's not a question of, what do I do to become healthier? What do I do to become wealthier? I mean, there's some base knowledge that you need, but most people, have that knowledge or the ability to get it. What's really difficult is the ability to do it. And to actually act through on that knowledge. So we know that, you need to spend less than you make in order to get financial margin and to build wealth. That's a fact. We know you have to burn more calories than you take in order to not have that excess calorie load to be able to, to lose weight. So those are, factual things that people know, but it's the doing that becomes hard. And I think the accountability piece is huge. And one other thing, as people want to type in their questions, that I'm just kind of taking away from this, is that the reactive versus the proactive, and how often left to our own devices, we're just meant to be reactive. We're busy, we're doing other things. So we're only going to pay attention if things go wrong. And that's definitely not the way you want to approach something, especially when it comes to your health and your finances. You want to be proactive in both of those areas, because both of those areas are critically important to your entire well-being. And you're not going to be able to do the other things unless you have those two areas well taken care of. And I love this visual that you say neutral. And what keeps going in my head is driving on the highway and putting your car in neutral. That's not a place you necessarily want to be. Yeah, at best, you're going to be, left on the side of the road and stopped safely. At worst, you're going to be in a horrible accident because somebody's just going to come crashing in behind you. So neutral is definitely not the place you want to be. You want to be proactive and be able to move your goals forward. We do have a question here. Does the 150 minutes of weekly activity include the strength training, or is that in addition?
So at least 2 sessions that you do within that 150 should be strength training related, right? So, whether that's, 1 hour broken up in 30-minute, 2 30-minute sessions, that's great. 2 strength training opportunities, but it's included in that 150.
Perfect. Are there any other resources that you have to begin implementing these changes that you can share?
Any resources for implementing them?
Yeah.
I think definitely taking time to understand, all right, what are the actual changes that you want to make, kind of making that clear for yourself. And then from that, like we spoke about in terms of the implementation, that really accountability step is going to be key. So once you figure out what you want to change or what your goals are, looking into working with an expert who can help you to achieve that. Because I'm sure they're well versed in things that you're probably not even thinking about that are large contributors to you reaching your goal. So like for me, for instance, physical pain, there's a lot of things that are going on to, contribute to that. People who don't know much about pain or what's going on with their bodies are probably not going to know how to best handle that, right? And it's important that you work with someone who can really understand what's going on so that you can really get a resolution.
Yeah, something else that I find that when people, especially at the new year, get excited about things and get that fresh start, they want to incorporate everything and do too much at one time, even like in multiple areas of the life and even in one areas of their health. So I'm going to start, eating better, exercising, taking vitamins, doing all these things. And then they start to set the expectation for themselves so high that they're just setting themselves up for failure because they're trying to incorporate too much. And so what I found that I do personally, I'm not an expert, is I focus on the one thing. What is the one thing that if I do that, I'm going to be happy with myself? And then the other things kind of tend to follow. And so my one thing this year is 100 push-ups, 100 push-ups a day at minimum to be able to do that. And then, hopefully other things will follow. Because if I do my 100 push-ups in a day, then I'm like, yeah, do I really want to eat that extra cookie? Do I really want to do this? Or, hey, maybe I'll just, start to take my vitamins or whatever. So you focus in on that one thing, you do it, you feel accomplished regardless of whatever else happens. And then it's that one step that then you continue to build upon it. What do you think about that?
I love that, right? And that kind of even ties into the accountability for yourself too, right? You need to be honest with yourself and say, all right, what can I actually, do? Let's make a realistic goal. If you're working a 12-hour shift and you say, all right, I'm going to work out for 3 hours today and meal prep and do all this stuff. I mean, is that a realistic goal, right? So, I think it's really taking into account what's my current lifestyle, where can I add or subtract to make sure that I can do this in a way that doesn't disrupt what I have already going on and just be like that cherry on top of the sundae for you.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of guides into a question that we just got. Any experience with patients feeling overwhelmed by these lifestyle changes? Because that can happen if you try to incorporate too much. What advice do you have for easing the burden and reducing that sensation?
Absolutely, right? So even like hearing all the different aspects of wellness, it could be like, all right, now my mind's swirling, I want to do it all, right? So kind of what we spoke about just briefly was kind of taking bite-sized segments and doing it one step at a time. So number one, if you do take that time to really understand, what's your top priority? Maybe you have 2 or 3 goals, but what's your number one, right? Start there. And then from there, see, okay, where can I start to make small changes that don't take too much time, don't cost too much, right? So that I can make it sustainable, right? And then that third step of, all right, I have somebody who knows all about this, whether it's financial, health and wellness, mental health, right? Who can guide me along and say, all right, great, you reached this goal, you reached this step, you're doing fantastic. Now we can move on to this, right? So having that guide, I think, is really key for that too, to help you feel, okay, I have a team. We got this.
Yeah, and helping you rise in your certainty that you'll be able to do it, because that's what really happens is, and it happened to me even in the 100 push-up thing. So I went down like the second or third day to do my first push-up, and I was like sore, and I was like, oh my God, that push-up was way harder than I wanted it to be. And a bunch of uncertainty kind of started flowing in my head, like, oh my gosh, can I even do this? I got through it, and I, was able to continue to do it. But my certainty definitely dropped, and having the ability either yourself to raise that certainty or having that accountability team to help you raise your certainty, definitely helps in order to achieve those goals. So definitely present with for that.
That sounds good. I may have to join you on this push-up challenge, and we could hold each other accountable. We'll be like,
there we go.
sore today, but let's do it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Hayley. Any final before we turn it over to David to give us some of the upcoming presentations that we have for our monthly webinar series?
No, just wanted to thank you again for inviting me to talk. I hope it was good information for you guys. Hope it was helpful. And yeah, if you have any questions, you can reach out to me via email or just on my website if you want to talk more. So thanks again.
All right. Thank you. David, why don't you let us know what other fabulous webinars that we'll be having the next couple of months?
So thank you, Justin, and thank you, Hayley. That was wonderful. I couldn't help but think about the parallels that people can relate to perhaps their own business, their own lifestyle. And I just think about when I was in college and we had a program, a large program for one of my classes. And it just seemed overwhelming to me because I don't know computers. Justin will attest to that. I don't know computers. And it's like, how do you start? And it's the same process that you just went through. You do a little bit at a time, you get the support team around you, you have a mentor to help you out, all those same things. So we can relate to what we know using the same strategies and all the things that you spoke about. So I thank you because you made that very relatable to me, at least.
Great. Awesome. I'm glad.
I hope everyone can enjoy this. This was a great presentation that Hayley's done, but there's more to come. In February, Justin was joking about this, but it's the month of love. We have Valentine's Day, but Personal Wealth Strategies would like to offer a counterpoint. We're going to be discussing divorce. So in February, we're going to be talking about divorce and all the considerations and factors that go into planning for that. And then in March, and by the way, that's February 1st. And then on March 1st, both Wednesdays, we're going to have Steve Atkinson from Buckingham Strategic Partners. He authored a book talking about the 27 principles of financial planning, and Steve will be in talking about his book. So we hope you can join us, if not live, at least to join us through the YouTube videos that we have posted up. And if you have ideas, topics that you'd like to hear about, please do speak out and let us know about that as well. And we thank everyone for their time and attention today. And Justin, I'll leave it to you.
Thank you, David. Thank you so much, Hayley. I look forward to seeing everybody here at future webinars. And this was recorded and will be up on our YouTube page shortly. So just by being here, you will get an email when that has loaded up to YouTube. And if you missed any of our past webinars, you will find them there as well. So you can go back into the archives and see any other topics that we might have covered before to get a refresher on that. So thank you so much. Have a great Wednesday. Have a great 2023. Thank you for being here, and we look forward to serving any way that we can.